Minnesota Office of the State Auditor presents Reporting Requirements for Fire Relief Associations. This online training video will provide a summary of reporting requirements for fire relief associations. In this video, we are going to cover these various reporting forms listed on the agenda displayed that a relief association is required to complete and file annually. We are not going to cover all reporting requirements in this training video, so be sure to discuss the specific requirements for your relief association with your accountant, auditor, or tax preparer. Most of the forms we will be reviewing are available on our website at osa.state.mn.us. From our home page, choose the Forms and Deadlines menu option, and then select Pension Forms. Scrolling down to the Resources for Completing Forms section, let's look at a document called the Key Reporting Requirements Calendar. This document lists the various forms that a fire relief association needs to submit during the calendar year. The Key Reporting Requirements Calendar includes a due date for each form, an indication of which relief associations need to file the form, and where the form should be submitted. Website links to the forms are also provided. This document is updated each year, so feel free to print it off and use it as a helpful resource for upcoming deadlines. Next, let's jump into the individual forms. The first form that needs to be completed each calendar year are the Statements of Economic Interest. This form is completed by each board member and the Chief Administrative Officer of your relief association. All 9 trustees on your relief association's board need to complete one of these forms, including the municipal trustees. The relief association is required to keep the completed forms on file and have the forms available for public inspection. After the 9 statements of economic interest have been completed, a certified listing of individuals who filed a statement of economic interest form is then completed. The certification is filled out by the Chief Administrative Officer of your relief association. Each individual who has completed a statement of economic interest form is included in the list on the second page of the certification. This certification is due to the Campaign Finance and Public Disclosure Board by January 15th. All relief associations need to complete the Statement of Economic Interest forms and the certified listing of individuals who filed the Statement of Economic Interest form. You can obtain a copy of both forms on our website under the Forms and Deadlines menu option by clicking on Pension Forms. They are both listed under the Current Forms heading. This is what the Statement of Economic Interest form looks like. And heading back to the Pension Forms page, this is what the certified listing of individuals who filed a Statement of Economic Interest form looks like. The next form that is due is the Supplemental Benefit Reimbursement form. This form is used to seek reimbursement of supplemental benefits that were paid, so you only need to complete the form if you paid supplemental benefits. Relief associations may apply for reimbursement by completing an online reimbursement form that is provided on the Minnesota Department of Revenue's website between mid-November and the due date is February 15th. Reimbursements are dispersed on or about March 15th to the affiliated municipality for relief associations that completed the reimbursement form by the February 15th deadline. The municipality then has 30 days to transfer the amount to the relief association for deposit in the Relief Association Special Fund. As an example, if a relief association pays a lump sum benefit in January of 2024, they cannot apply for reimbursement by the February 15, 2024 due date. The relief must wait until the form is available again in November of 2024. This is what the Minnesota Department of Revenue's website looks like and where the reimbursement form and instructions can be found. Another form that is filed with the Minnesota Department of Revenue is the Fire State Aid Certification, or FA1 form. The submission of the information on this form is required for fire relief associations to be eligible for its Fire State Aid, and it's due on March 15th. A penalty is assessed against a community's Fire State Aid amount for each week or fraction of a week that the FA1 form is submitted past the March 15th due date. The FA1 form can be completed online on the Minnesota Department of Revenue's website. A Fire Service Areas report is also posted on the Minnesota Department of Revenue's website with information on the documentation that is needed to confirm any fire department service area changes. Instructions for completing the form and a list of forms received by the Minnesota Department of Revenue are also provided. Next, let's look at the Investment Business Recipient Disclosure form. This form is completed by all relief associations and is used to list all recipients of investment business with respect to the investments made by your relief association. The form is to be completed annually and must be prepared within 60 days of the close of the fiscal year. The form is then required to be submitted to the Legislative Commission on Pensions and Retirement by March 31st. The investment business recipient disclosure form must be kept on file and made available for public inspection. This form is also listed on the pension forms page, and this is what the form looks like. Our office commonly receives questions pertaining to which category certain investments should be listed under. If your relief association has any investments held with the Minnesota State Board of Investment, or SBI for short, they should be listed under the Other Investment Managers category. If your relief association uses the services of a broker and the broker files the broker certification form with our office, these investments should be listed under the Brokerage Organizations category. The next form is the Financial and Investment Reporting Entry Form, or FIRE form for short. The FIRE form is used to provide our office with required information about the Relief Association's revenues, expenditures, investments, and pension disbursements. This form is required to be completed by all relief associations and is submitted to our office annually by one of two dates depending on your relief association's value of assets and liabilities. The FIRE form can be found and downloaded from the State Auditor's Form Entry System, known as SAFES, which can always be found at the top of our website or under the Forms and Deadlines menu option if using a mobile device. The FIRE form is also submitted to our office through SAFES. Relief associations that have special fund assets or liabilities of less than $750,000 are required to submit all reports to our office by March 31st. Relief associations that have assets or liabilities that exceed this threshold have a filing deadline of June 30th. Once a relief association exceeds the $750,000 threshold in assets or liabilities, the June 30th reporting deadline doesn't change, even if the assets and liabilities subsequently drop below the threshold. The $750,000 threshold is also used to determine whether your relief association needs to have an audit or an agreed-upon procedures report completed by a certified public accountant. The $750,000 threshold is for special fund assets or liability amounts only. Relief associations with both assets and liabilities below the threshold are also required to have a certified public accountant certify their FIRE form by completing the certification on the last page of the form if an audit was not performed. The CPA certification and agreed-upon procedures report for relief associations with assets and liabilities below the $750,000 threshold are due to our office by March 31st. Relief associations above the threshold are required to submit audited financial statements to our office by June 30th. As mentioned earlier, if your relief association exceeded the $750,000 threshold in the past but has subsequently dropped below the threshold, an audit is still required and your relief association maintains the June 30th reporting deadline. The audit or agreed-upon procedures report is submitted to our office as a PDF via SAFES. Up next is the schedule form. The schedule, or SC form, is completed by defined benefit lump sum relief associations. The SC form is used to determine the accrued liability for each relief association member and to calculate any municipal contribution requirements for the upcoming calendar year. Because this form is used by cities and towns to budget for contribution payments to the Relief Association, the form is required to be certified to the affiliated municipality by August 1st. However, the form is not required to be submitted to the Office of the State Auditor until March 31st or June 30th of the following year with your Relief Association's other reporting year forms. Many relief associations submit their schedule form to our office at the same time it is certified to the municipality so that we can conduct a preliminary review of the form data if time permits. The SC form can be found and downloaded from the State Auditor's Form Entry System known as SAFES, which can always be found at the top of our website or under the Forms and Deadlines menu option if using a mobile device. The SC form is also submitted to our office through SAFES. An additional reporting requirement is the Broker Certification, or BC-1 form. This form is submitted to our office via email and is required to be completed by all relief associations that use the services of a broker or investment advisor. The broker certification form is completed before your relief association enters into a business arrangement with a broker and is required to be completed annually thereafter. If the relief association works with more than one broker or investment advisor, a separate form is completed for each broker. The broker certification form assists fire relief associations in informing their brokers of their investment restrictions and obtains certification that investment transactions will be conducted in accordance with those restrictions. The form is required to be kept on file with your relief association and be available for public inspection. The BC1 form is also listed on the pension forms page, and this is what the form looks like. After Section 1 of the BC1 form is completed, the form is required to be signed by a relief association officer in Section 2. A relief association officer will also need to sign Section 3 of the form if the relief association's investment policy has further investment restrictions. The relief association's broker is required to fill out, sign, and date Sections 4 and 5 of the form. The last reporting requirement is the annual registration with the Secretary of State. All relief associations are required to annually complete a corporate charter registration with the Secretary of State's office to keep their nonprofit status active. The registration can be completed online on the Secretary of State's website. When completing the annual corporate charter registration, the Relief Association will need its filing number. Our office can provide the Relief Association with its filing number, but the Secretary of State's office will be better to assist with any questions. It is important to make sure that your Relief Association completes the annual registration. The penalty for failing to complete the registration is that your nonprofit corporation status could be dissolved. This concludes our online training video on the reporting requirements for fire relief associations.